Mammoth.
In the history of the natural world to the supernatural, I found many weird things. But just because I don't know what it is doesn't make it supernatural. While the true heart of science is to always question even yourself. In the end, I have become an objective atheist. I am an atheist, but I want there to be more.
In 1580, the Stroganoff family sent a band of Cossacks to hunt down a group of bandits in Siberia that had been stealing from the mines there. The leader of the expedition, Yermak Timofeyevich, reported that beyond the Ural Mountains he met a large, hairy elephant. The natives told him that the kingdom of Siber considered the giant animals as part of its wealth. They were valued as food, and the name when translated meant mountains of meat. Colonel Fowler lived for 12 years in Alaska from 1877 to 1889. Once asked of the most interesting thing he had seen there, he told them that after leaving Kodiak for a trip to the headwaters of Snake River, where his traveling agents had established a trading station with an Inuit village, he began negotiating for the purchase of a big lot of fossil ivory of several thousand pounds, which his tribe had stored near the village. After subjecting the ivory to a rigid inspection, two of the largest tusks had been found with fresh blood and traces of the remnants of partially decomposed flesh. It seems that a party had encountered a drove of monsters about 50 miles from where he was then encamped, and had succeeded in killing two, an old bull and a cow. They had nearly reached the hunting grounds when their ears were suddenly saluted by the chorus of large, loud, shrill, trumpet-like calls, and an enormous creature came crashing towards them through the thicket. The ground fairly trembled beneath its ponderous footfalls. Fowler went on to claim that Alaska's recent governor, Swineford, had decided that large herds of these animals were to be found above the Snake River, and the news raced around the world. Then in 1899, Henry Tuchman actually killed an Alaskan mammoth, so stated newspaper headlines. The Father of Cryptozoology, by Bernard Heuvelmans, has a chapter in his book on the track of an unknown animal. This chapter includes an extended section on the accounts of M. Gallen of what he was told in 1920 by a Russian witness who spoke of finding tracks in 1918 and eventually observing a fairly large, heavy-tusked elephant-like animal in Russia. Heuvelman also included references to a large, hairy elephant reported as being seen by the late 16th century Yermak Timofeyevich, leader of the Cossack expedition in the Ural Mountains. This one actually, which I gave you a piece of earlier, is quite extensive and goes on for quite a bit. So if you're interested, do look it up. It goes on almost daily, like a journal of different things going on, some related, some not. The interest sometimes is finding what is. I pulled out the strongest bit of evidence and the information on it. According to natives, they claimed it was commonly part of their meat and happened at the time when the Slav world had never heard of the mammoth. I actually found long and detailed stories of these examples, and more so than with many other cryptos. So for this one, I definitely would say check it out yourself. This just gives you a few names and that started me on the expedition to looking through it through the different sites on the web. From what I've found, though, I do believe the mammoth made it further along in time than we thought. And if we really want this one, we really actually can clone it out, or at least we're getting close to that, because we do have the DNA to do so, kind of like with the thylacine. Except for in this case, they were nice enough to die in the ice, so we actually recovered bodies, frozen. It was a smaller one, but still the DNA's there. And you don't find this in many other animals, so it makes you wonder just how far they did make it. I mean, the cavemen are said to have hunted these things, so they made it past the meteorite and all that, definitely, because, well, they weren't dinosaurs. But we kind of just lumped their end in with them. And they were actually a much later age. It's not impossible. Some would say when you're flying overhead with a plane, you'd see them over the tundra or over the snow. They might get coated with the snow. They might be of a more grayer color. They're going to do what they need to survive over evolution. But I believe if they did, they may not anymore. We have a habit of that, kind of like the dodo. I think it was another one of those that survived for a while until we finally finished him off. Thank you.